What up, you crazy whatnuts and Humpty Dumped Nuts? Right? Humpty Dump Nuts? Is that what we did yesterday? Humpty Dump Nuts.
Yeah, I think so.
Humpty Dump Nuts. It's Thursday, March 21st in the United States of America, and it is What Chaos. I'm DJ Bean. That is Pete Blackburn, and that is Sean DePaz. Hi, boys. You enjoy that fucking terrible slate last night?
It was so bad. I've never been as convinced that we need to go back and retroactively give something a B+ as last night's slate. 3 games, they all were terrible.
I tell you what, though, it's bankroll season.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you did say like we need to make some bets. We need to make some money because of what? March Madness.
You got to load up for the big weekend of March Madness. You and yours probably all going to get together, throw back some pingus.
Yeah,
bet on some basketball games.
Me and mine is me and Sean.
I
and
know.
Jeff, this guy. Boy. Well, welcome back, by the way. You're in studio.
Yes.
The flu has lost.
The flu has lost
its battle.
Our energy is extremely high today. I'd like to say it's for any reason other than this, but Pete and I hadn't seen each other in a few days, so we're just all giggly and being a bunch of jokey boys this morning.
There's a dynamic in this podcast where one of us is always going through something. Usually it's me. I've been like the banged up one for the past like 2 months. I took a week break. You got the flu. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you feel better, I woke up this morning, lifted my head off the pillow and like torn muscle in my neck. And so my neck is killing me. And so congratulations, you've passed the ball.
Well, as long as Sean is healthy, that's all that matters to me.
It's true.
For now, or as far as I know.
Wait, Sean has a Chit Chat sweatshirt too?
Yes, I ordered 2 of them because historically I have been between a medium and a large, and these days, because of the stresses of starting a new show and not knowing how to stop drinking, I am just a fat boy now and a fat man. So I'm constantly between a large and an extra large, and when I order my silly ass shirts, I get one in large and one in XL, not knowing which will fit. The large of the Chit Chat fit me, so Sean gets the extra large Chit Chat.
You're playing both sides, so you always win.
It's a pretty good yes. But when it's normal, if I'm between a medium and a large, you're probably going to come into a lot of mediums.
That's true.
I can't squeeze into them.
Have famously done that.
Yeah. So Rich Peverley joins the show today, Stanley Cup champion. And I saw a lot of people when we said Rich Peverley is going to be on the show, they said, oh, not a Bruins podcast, huh? Ooh, you just only do Bruins stuff. Tell you what, we're not going to talk about Bruins with this guy for 1 second.
No.
We want him on to talk about Atlanta, hockey in Atlanta. This guy is a Thrashers legend. He's also currently the Stars director of player personnel. And I'll tell you what, if I'm a team and I want someone to like fix my team, build my team, I'm looking at that Stars front office because boy, are they building something good. They are bringing in these young guys. They can all score goals. It's a crazy thing. So we're going to have Rich Peverley on.
I think the Stars have the best amateur scouting department in all of the NHL. And that has really kind of helped them. Like the Stars, I would say like a casual fan would think of the Stars and be like, oh yeah, like Jamie Benn, Tyler Sagan, and
get those old idiots
guys
out of here.
Those guys are like ancillary pieces for this current Stars team. So Stars amateur scouting is incredible. Can't wait to ask Rich Peverley about Logan Stankoven.
Yeah, and that's all you have to ask him is just say Logan Stankoven, huh?
What do you think about what do you think about that Stankoven?
Yeah, he's the best though, and obviously he had a just awesome career. What a player! Like, if this guy existed at the current trade deadline, I would have wanted him on the Oilers so badly because he plays all 3 forward positions, kills penalties, power play. Someone gets hurt, fine first liner. That's my kind of player, man. Rich Peverley.
I don't
Excited
know.
to talk to him.
I think you're spewing some bullshit right now because you didn't really love the Alex Wenberg pickup for the New York Rangers.
So
Somewhat of a similar, like a third line, middle six, like defensive, responsible player.
Peverley way cooler.
Peverley's cooler,
I
but
like- nobody ever called Rich Peverley Raptor Jesus. That guy had the weird for
they
a
did
guy
famously.
who is like a very like straightforward, nice, not here to dick around too much guy. Fans were so weird about him. We can ask him about that.
Yeah.
He's joining us live. Our friend Jeff Israel had the hugest boner for this guy. Was crazy about him. The Stars fans and Thrashers fans called him Raptor Jesus. There was a Rich Peverley hillbilly in Atlanta. That's mainly what I want to look at that.
That's incredible.
Mainly what I want to ask him about is, and I think the crux of the conversation will be, can hockey work in Atlanta? Because we want it to. Will they be Atlanta enough? Like, there needed to be more of that shit going on. And there wasn't, I feel, if my memory serves me correctly, there wasn't a ton of it going on.
The Thrashers didn't have like a real strong identity.
Yes. Whereas like Nashville, where Rich Peverley also played, they're fucking trotting out Vince Gill. They're doing all
Catfish
this
on the ice.
They're doing like all the Nashville stuff. So I'm rooting for Anson Carter and the gang, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
We got a super chat.
Yeah, I was gonna
We
say
have a super chat.
We
the
do.
love of your life. I think I might be the love of your life's life. This is not the first time they've sent specifically me super chats.
Well, it's like big hater energy.
Yeah.
The love of your life, big hater. You're a big hater. I think you
$2
guys
for me,
are
fellow
cut from the
Bostonian.
same cloth.
Yeah, I appreciate
Well,
it.
appreciate the super chat. We'll take any super chats if the chat wants to give them to us. Also, should we do an early like spike before we have a guest? An
Whoa.
early like spike. I forgot to do it yesterday. So if you're in the chat right now, like spike 3, 2, 1. Hit that like button, the thumbs up below the YouTube player. Also sub to us on YouTube if you're not already. Thank you very much. We also have to talk quickly about the Dallas Stars. Not only because of Rich Peverley, but also they got in a very interesting Twitter beef last night.
This
with
is the number one story in hockey.
Well, the slate was bad last night.
Yeah, right.
so-
Like, this is what, if you give us a shit slate, we're going to open. But like, I think that of things that are discussed on hockey Twitter, this is more interesting and I think a better conversation for a show than a hit is.
Well, Tom Wilson took the sword to a guy's face last night. Do you see that?
It's going to happen.
Who cares? So
I did see. Did you see what our insider Johnny Lazarus did with that?
he said, "What in tarnation?"
He said, "What is this?" And I said, "That's my insider asking questions."
That's right. But the Dallas Stars beat the Arizona Coyotes 5-2 last night. Then tweeted out a graphic that said "road killed," and it was, well, you see on the right side, it was sensitive content warning on Twitter. And then when you click show, it's a picture of a truck running over a dead fox, not a coyote. It's just a fox run over by a pickup truck in the middle of the desert.
I bet all animals look the same to the Dallas Stars.
So, not good behavior from the Dallas Stars social media team. They got called out for it, and then it started a very high schoolish Twitter beef between the Stars and the Coyotes because the Coyotes responded and said may have won the game, but took the L on this one. And it's just like a picture of an L in the Stars. And then the Dallas Stars, with the worst comeback of all time, said, at least we don't get used to L's.
So the loser of all this is all of us, but like the loser of all of this is for sure the Stars.
Yeah.
Their first post was weird. You mentioned good behavior, bad behavior. That to me is like the definition of I don't care about it, but it's not good behavior. Like, I'm not offended that they posted that. I understand why a lot of people would. It's very upsetting. You don't want to see dead animals on your timeline. Like, what are you doing? Get that out of here. It's more the phrasing of at least we don't get used to L's. I had to look. I was like, is that a lyric?
It's the most I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah.
Such a weird.
It's such childish behavior.
Especially-
the roadkill thing was like distasteful, but not offensive. It's just something that you think is below a NHL team posting. You consider like a teenage fan posting that and be like, we ran over the Coyotes. You wouldn't think twice about it, but it's beneath an actual NHL organization. But you're right. At least we don't get used to L's is like the worst response to being called out on something.
Which, and as I pointed out before the show, that's a bad comeback from any team, especially a bad comeback from a team that has 2 L's in their name. Like every time you write your own name, you're writing L's. So you're definitely used
That's a take.
to L's.
That L, you are right. Say, hey, admin, your L button is well broken in.
Yeah.
When you're signing emails,
it's worn out.
We call them the Stars now because they have no L's.
So does this change your Stanley Cup prediction?
No, it just changes my opinion on whoever's running the Dallas Stars Twitter page because, like,
If they're still running the Dallas Stars Twitter page.
I think both sides. Yeah, that's true. According to the Arizona Coyotes, that person's looking for a job now, and there is a job opening at the Chick-fil-A in Dallas,
Or Walgreens.
and also the Walgreens in Dallas.
Okay, so I don't think that they meant this. It's also bad behavior when you do like the, hey, you're going to be working at McDonald's.
Especially considering what we know about who runs the Coyote social media.
That was the point that I was going to make. I think both sides look bad here. Obviously, I think Dallas looks a little bit worse because their tweets were bad. Dallas also looks worse because they hired the person to send those tweets, whereas the person who's probably sending the tweets from the Arizona Coyotes side is famously a Nepo baby.
I was going to say, can we do a little painting, like a sketch artist generation of what they might look like? I think probably.
I feel like we
Look
could
up
probably
the
find
owner.
images.
Look up the owner of the Arizona Coyotes.
Age them down like 25 years.
Yep, and then you'll probably have an understanding of who's sending those tweets.
It was bad behavior, though.
Whenever I think about the Arizona Coyotes and their social accounts being hijacked, I always think of the kid from GTA 5, Michael's son.
Yeah.
That's always who I think of. It's just the junior owner and his wild times with the phone under the Arizona Coyotes social accounts.
My only thing is, like, I don't feel like the Coyotes did like any damage to themselves. Like, I don't think they really lost in this in any way because like they didn't start it. The Coyote, although they definitely had that meme ready to tweet about the Stars because they tweet a meme like that after every win, which is obviously few and far between.
A lot of stuff staying in the drafts these days.
Exactly, but like I said the Mark Twain quote before the show: "Don't argue with a fool; they'll drag you down to their level and beat you with experience." Like, why would you ever get into this situation with the Coyotes? You're never gonna win.
I didn't like the Stars. The L thing was a little chat GPT.
They do it every day.
The
like
stars
every
are too bright. The
Off.
yeah, the
Turn 'em
lights
off.
are too bright. It looks fake. It looks you gotta be better at Photoshop, I think.
Although something I kept looking, I was like,
Up in the corner.
yeah.
It's a howling coyote.
Oh, it's a howling. I was like, is that like a Mufasa?
It's a howling coyote. It looks poor. It's a poor job.
I don't even
poor
see
execution.
I don't see it in.
I don't really either. I just saw the Coyotes respond to somebody being like, "Is that a howling coyote in the corner?" And they were like, "You noticed."
I guess it is. Yeah.
They respond with the eyes emoji.
Yeah,
Like, ooh,
it's hard
maybe.
for the Coyotes to like lose any sort of respect at this point. Like you gotta hand them like a jackhammer for them to go lower than their reputation already is.
If they had stopped right here and not done the job posting tweet, which almost certainly implies that like a 25-year-old woman is losing her job, they would have definitively won this interaction.
Yeah, I don't love, again, like the similar to the first roadkill thing, the job posting thing is bad behavior. I don't care about it. And I don't like the implication of like, you're gonna be so screwed
Like
that
your
you're gonna
career's
be
over.
that you're gonna be working at Walgreens or whatever. Like, you know who worked at Walgreens? Abraham Lincoln. Like
Kurt
some of
Warner.
our like finest great people have worked at Walgreens and have become great people. Working at a store does not make you a bad person.
In fact, I
or
would
lower.
argue not doing stuff like that tends to make you bad people. Like everyone should work low.
Yeah.
pay
Oh,
service
yes.
True.
jobs.
My biggest problem though is like the graphic, the initial graphic, the roadkill graphic is number one. Obviously, it's a fox. Like, if you're gonna do some stupid shit like that, at least make it a coyote. But then also the truck is driving in the middle of the road. If you pull up just right between the lines, it looks like that the truck went out of its way to run over that fox in the middle of the road and is splitting the lanes of traffic.
Also, it's
the
just a
fuck's
picture.
going on
it's
here?
just like a picture they got off the internet. There's no Photoshop or anything here.
Well, I think they photoshopped the truck to be bright green.
Okay, maybe.
And
That's
I think
fair.
they threw the Dallas Stars logo on the back of the truck.
Or maybe they actually drove
Yeah, I guess
over. I think for this
They found
tweet,
a fox.
they found a fox, ran it over, and they were going to post a picture of it. And they were like, fuck, we can't just post a picture of our car. They're going to know, they're going to be able to find out who did this. So then they photoshopped it to be green. Initially, it could have been any color. But they did for sure get a fox and kill it. So that is upsetting. It's bad behavior.
Corrode kill Kaprizov.
Roadkill Kaprizov's pretty good.
Good.
Nice.
Good.
Not bad.
I enjoy that. I also enjoy Prize Picks. Do you know this about me?
Yeah. You're not a cocaine guy, big Prize Picks guy.
Big Prize Picks guy. There's no shortage of high stakes basketball moments this time of year. I'm going to let you know, college basketball going down.
Today.
It's 12:20, so like right now, I believe. Get in on the excitement with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you could turn your hoops knowledge into serious cash. Be part of the action on Prize Picks for both men's and women's college basketball. Testing my skills on Prize Picks this season has been the most exciting way for me to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you could turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. And it's quick and simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. And if you haven't played yet, what better time than now to start? The college basketball tournament has me pumped to hammer Prize Picks all throughout the weekend. Go to prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/whatchaos and use code whatchaos. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Are you bracket guys? Like, do you fill out
I
brackets?
have not filled out a bracket.
I think we discussed this in recent years. The brackets are dead. I forget what my
No.
take was on this, but I remember strongly having a brackets are dead and something killed
Brackets
them.
definitely not dead, but now I think that there's more options to sort of diversify your approach to March Madness. This year, I'm doing squares. Squares that stay the same for every game throughout March Madness, which is
interesting.
super, super cool and very easy for me to keep track of. I haven't watched a single second of college basketball this year, so I'm not trying to fill out a bracket.
This is the least college basketball I watched in my entire life, which is why I feel pretty confident it'll be the best
That's
bracket
fair.
I've done in a while.
That's fair. Also, cut my penis?
Yep.
Okay. This episode is also brought to you by the Spring Cleaning Champions. It's Manscaped. This season, make sure to groom your carpets and the drapes with the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. Clear out that winter bush with Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0. We talk about it a ton. We love the Lawnmower 5.0. We can't stop talking about it. It's got LED lights. It's waterproof. It has wireless charging. Sean's obsessed with the wireless charging. It's all he ever talks about. Watch your confidence bloom like the springtime flowers. Embrace the season and join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our special offer. Go to manscaped.com and use promo code WhatChaos for 20% off and free shipping. That is manscaped.com, promo code WhatChaos for 20% off and free shipping.
All right, we talked last week about Anson Carter leading a group to bring an NHL team to Alpharetta, Georgia. We like the idea of this, and we want it to work. We want hockey to thrive in Atlanta, so let's bring in an Atlanta hockey legend, former Thrasher, former Stanley Cup champion, current, whatever. He has a Stanley Cup for the rest of his life. That ring is not going anywhere. And current Stars Director of Player Personnel, Rich Peverley. Rich, it has been 1,000 years. It's so good to talk to you. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Outstanding. Outstanding. What was it like playing in Atlanta? You've played in a few different markets, Nashville, Boston, Dallas. What's Atlanta like as a hockey market?
I think it could work. I think Atlanta had a lot of transplants. A lot of people from the north. You know, you're talking Buffalo was a big one. Boston, New York. I think it could work. I really like the city. It's a big city. There's a lot of people that live around the outskirts that really enjoy hockey, and I think it could work.
It hasn't worked the previous two times that it's been there. What do you think is like the number one thing that is necessary for it to stick this time?
Well, I do think that arena location is huge. The city, I don't know the city as much anymore as when I lived there, but I do remember going to Braves games, and they weren't getting 10,000 people at the stadium. And they switched that stadium up into, I think it's in Marietta or Alpharetta, and they're doing really well from what I hear. I check box scores. I'm curious on that stuff, and I check on the attendance, and they do well. And obviously the team's had success. So I do think arena location is everything. Not to say that downtown Atlanta isn't a great spot. I just think you got to go where the fan base is.
Did they do enough while you were like, did it feel Atlanta enough? Like there was like the Peverley Hillbilly, and there were like certain Southern elements that were worked in there, but did it feel like a hockey team in Atlanta, or did it feel like an operation that was kind of just like moved to Atlanta and trying to like implant something that could be in Toronto or Boston or whatever, and like forced into this Southern area?
I think it obviously had its hardcore fans. I look at what Dallas has done over the years, and what they've done is they've built arenas all over the city. And I can't name the amount they have. I'm going to guess 8 to 10 duplexes all over the city. And that's where you got to build the grassroots for the kids. And, you got to bring it up. And those are your future audience is young kids. So in Atlanta, I don't think they did that. I can only really remember the practice arena in Duluth. And that was it for hockey arenas in Atlanta. And maybe there was a couple others. We just never saw them. So like I said, in Dallas, from where the practice facility is for the Stars, within a half an hour, you have 4 or 5 twin ice pads, and they're sold out every day, and they could get more and more people onto those ice pads if they built more. So, I think that's a really big thing that they're going to have to do. I think they've done that in Vegas, but you got to continue to build more ice rinks to be able to bring more fans in.
We talk a lot about like the branding of NHL teams here, and we've discussed like whether or not we'd want the Thrashers to be revived. As a former Thrasher, do you have an opinion on whether you'd want to see a revival of the Thrashers franchise, or see them kind of start fresh in Atlanta?
That's a tough question. I don't think the team had a lot of success. Obviously, we know it didn't have a lot of success. They never won a playoff game. I think that a new name wouldn't hurt. You're starting fresh. Maybe it's, obviously with the expansion process now, Atlanta's going to get, if they do it, is going to get a lot better team. I think that's why we've seen success in Seattle and in Vegas is, every team is going to lose a really good player. So if they do that, and I think that's part and parcel why it didn't work in Atlanta is just the lack of success. The expansion process 20 years ago when those teams were coming in, like they weren't winning games at all. And if you want to have fans, and you're going to have to win games. So I think that comes down to it.
It's kind of wild that like the lack of success when you think about how many great players did wear the Thrashers uniform. It's like it is wild to think back about how many like really, really great players the Thrashers had, yourself included.
Well, no, I think you're talking about Hall of Famers there, not myself. You got Hossa and Kovalchuk and Danny Heatley. There's some pretty good players that played there, and I'm not, Mark Recchi played there. There's some good players played in Atlanta.
No, man, I was telling our producer before the show, like, dream player, Rich Peverley. Play all 3 forward positions, PK, power play. The year you won a cup, you lose a first liner, you jump up onto the first line. Hell of a player, unbelievable career. What was the weirdest thing that you experienced in Atlanta of like, what is this? Like, how is hockey happening here sort of thing?
Weirdest thing? There wasn't a ton of weird things. I just, you show up for an important game and there might be 5,000 people. And I say that, I better be careful in saying that, but it really wasn't enjoyable when you're going to go play a game and it's a meaningful game and you're not getting any fans. So, is that the weirdest thing? No, that's not the weirdest thing. There's obviously living in the South. I've lived in Nashville and Dallas, and there's different fans that are, they grew up differently than people in the North or people in Canada. And, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that was crazy, but Atlanta was still a fun place to play. It's a good city.
So what was it like then being on the team? Because you played 3 years there, but you were also there the team's final year. So you got traded during that season. Was it weird or less weird because you're like, we all end up having to leave here anyway?
It kind of hit everyone like shockingly, I think. For myself, obviously, I remember being in a hotel room in maybe conference finals, and we were all playing cards the night before a game, and it just kind of popped up on ESPN during, it wasn't ESPN, it would have been Versus or something like that during the playoffs. We were watching a game on the screen, and it just kind of popped up, and they're like, they're moving to Winnipeg. And you had not heard any rumors, not like you'd hear now with Arizona possibly moving to Utah. So the NHL did a good job of covering it up and not really, showing any details or any leaks. So, it was a good job by them on that side of it. But it was surprising. Like, I guess I didn't have to stay in Atlanta, but, I got to move to one of the best cities in the NHL. So I couldn't be, I was happy. So.
I did want to ask you some about the Stars, specifically one of the guys that is near and dear to my heart this year, Logan Stankoven, because as a short person, a proud short person, I have to root for the short guys. What have you seen from Logan Stankoven? Obviously came in as a pretty highly touted prospect, but what have you seen from him in the early returns with the Stars?
He's been excellent. Scored again last night. We've been watching him. Obviously, our owner, Tom Glardy, owns the Kamloops Blazers, where Logan is from, and played for his hometown team. So he had obviously some really good history with the player and the person, and fantastic kid, highly motivated, no maintenance player, no maintenance kid. He is dialed in, and he wants to be a good hockey player. And he's had everyone guessing him all the time, all throughout his career. He's 5'8", but he is built strong and he's thick, and you rarely see him get knocked down. I think that's the biggest thing. You go into hard games. Is it World Juniors? Is it WHL conference finals? Is it any big game? He's getting knocked all over the place, and he's not falling over. He stands on his feet. He's got great balance, and he goes to the hard areas, and that's why he scores. He's got a heck of a shot. It's really heavy, but he goes to the hard areas of the ice and he scores goals. And, that's what you got to do to score in the NHL, and he's doing it.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out, because like in his first 2 games, that was what jumped out to me, is that like, here's this 5'8" kid playing in his first couple NHL games. He's scoring goals directly in front of the net. Seems like a very smart and very fearless player, and I'm excited to see where he goes. The thing about the Stars for me is that like, what I like the most about that group is that it is like a mixture of the past, the present, and the future, all contributing to the success of that team. What's the dynamic like for that group when the core is such a wide-ranging group?
Well, I think, it all starts with Jamie Benn and Joel Pavelski. You're talking about some pretty good veterans that have been around a long time. They know how to win. They've been to the long playoff runs. They've been through the grind of the season. You couple that with, you have some young players that want to get better. And is it Logan Stankoven or is it Wyatt Johnson, like 18, 19, 20-year-old players that, they're just willing to learn as much as possible. And, Tyler's been awesome this year. He's been excellent playing on a line with Matt Duchene. And, you have kind of that group with Marchment and Sagan, and then you still have Jason Robertson, Rope Hintz, kind of in their mid-20s. And those are guys that were second-round picks that, wasn't an easy path for them. They didn't go straight to the NHL. They both played in the American League a full season. And, I think the development side of our group, plus with the drafting, like, Joe McDonnell and our group of scouts have done a fantastic job, and the development side, including the AHL coaches, have been excellent at, making these guys good pros and wanting to win and wanting to learn how to win and do it the right way.
How do you like doing it sounds like you really like doing the front office thing.
Yeah, I really like it. It's obviously my career stopped early. I think I was only like 31 or 32, and I've been doing this now for 9 years. So it's crazy that it's been 9, 10 years doing this job. But I love this side of it. It's a lot of fun. When you win a cup, I talked to Gregory Campbell about this. When you win a cup, it's an unbelievable feeling. You're part of a group, and you have that forever. And I just want to do it again. And if I can do it on this side of it, it's it probably won't mean as much, but it's going to mean a lot in a different way.
You mentioned Campbell. I saw rumors the other day about, like, does Chris Kelly become the head coach of the Senators? Which obviously at some point that's going to happen because Chris Kelly and the Senators just can't keep their hands off each other. But like, what it was, all those 2011 guys, like, you just keep hearing more and more things about, like, just their aptitude. What was it about that group, do you think?
I never met a group that was so motivated to get better at everything in life. You're talking some fantastic people, but like the hardest working people I've ever met, like Zdeno and Patrice, Brad, Dennis Seidenberg, Gregory Campbell, the list. I could name every single guy on that team, and they brought something to the table that outworked someone else. And, I think with Gregory, like, he was always one of the most in shape people. He's, obviously with his dad tied to the NHL, he's got an insight there, and, he's done a great job in Florida. Obviously, look at what they've done. But even, Sean Thornton, he works hard at what he does, but he's not on the hockey side of it, right? But he's still around the team. And, I couldn't probably say enough accolades about every single guy on that team and how hard they worked and how much it changed me as a person. And I tell those guys, like, Bergie and Zdeno and everyone, and Chris Kelly in that group of, I just learned how to work harder and be a hard working person at all times. And I think that's what kind of helped me, have a little bit more success.
I saw Sean Thornton in Toronto at the All-Star game, and he was like the type of guy that could like shove you in the locker. But even now, he's just such an adult. Like, everybody, there was just always this, like, I don't want to say professionalism because that makes you sound like a bunch of dorks, but like, truly everybody serious, everybody like knew when they needed to actually show up. You guys were great. So we have to ask you about the picture with the pizza. Do you ever see this picture? You and Chara with the pizza?
Oh yeah.
My understanding is whenever there were overtime games or any sort of long, grueling games, there were tons of pizza boxes in the locker room just because you have to eat during the games and everything. But this is an incredible picture of you and Zdeno Chara. What is this picture? You and Chara having a nice Stanley Cup pizza party. What does this bring back for you?
I just remember being like exhausted, and I don't know if it was was it the game or was it the playoffs? I just remember the time change and everything. I just remember I had beer in one hand, I had pizza in one hand, and it was just like, you go through the grueling 2 months of playing a game every other day, the travel, and it was kind of like, how you get that after a test or after I used to have that feeling after fitness testing when the season was starting. I couldn't wait for it to be over with. But this was kind of like it. It was like, it's over. We did it. And I was just like, oh, I'm just done. And I just wanted a slice of pizza and a beer. And I was so hungry at the time. I remember it. It was just, one of those feelings that you accomplished something and you just sat back and tried to enjoy it.
Well, not only do you have pizza in one hand, beer in the other, and then Zdeno Chara in your lap. Like, what was...
I think my favorite part of that picture is I'd never noticed it before, but Chara looks spry as the day is young and like can go run a marathon, and you look like you're ready to go to bed. It's a hilarious juxtaposition.
I think that's probably a good lead into the rest of his life, just what he's been doing and everything. Like, oh my gosh, the marathons, you give that guy a lot of credit. He's a highly motivated person. I couldn't do that now, but good for him.
Does it make you sick? Does it make you sick to look at Zdeno Chara and be like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Slow down for 1 second.
He's wired a different way, no question.
That's
why he did what he did.
Yeah, I mean, but was that like as a captain? He'd have to be the ultimate lead by example guy because he's just doing impossible things. You mentioned the fitness testing. he would just show up and fuck shit up, just put up these impossible numbers with the pull-ups and everybody trying to catch up to him. But like as a leader, having this impossible standard, does that help or does that make you borderline want to quit?
No, it motivates you to get better, 100%. Like it wasn't just Zdeno. There was Dennis Seidenberg, there was Campbell, there was Bergeron. Like Brad was like always in fantastic shape. Like these guys like dialed it in, and they were in incredible shape. Better than I'd say the top 5 to 7 guys could have been top on other teams. You know, it's just that's how guys were, and that's how motivated they were to be in really good shape. And you know, that's why they became such good players and still are, you know, and talking in Brad's case, still a really good player.
Taking Marchand and Seguin out of it, who did you see like cut loose the most once you guys won?
I don't know. I don't want to get in trouble here, but I don't know. I think everybody, like everybody just had a good time. Like it was, you know, it was a lot of fun. You know, some guys decided not to drink during the cup the whole 2 months. You know, some guys like that just, you know, maybe they hadn't had alcohol in 2 months, so everyone was kind of going a little bit wild. But, you know, everyone just kind of let loose the one couple nights, you know, the parade, everything. It was surreal. It was a great time.
I saw an incredible theory the other day that was Brad Marchand taught Tyler Seguin how to drink so he could take his spot on the Bruins long term.
Oh my God.
Which is the most outrageous theory, but would be hilarious if Marchand was like up to that. He had long con, Bruins captain, it all worked out for him.
We had this conversation this week. Have you seen like a shift in general behavior amongst NHL players in the way that they carry themselves off the ice in terms of like taking care of your body, not drinking so much, and just like sort of more maintenance rather than like being wild off the ice?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question. You know, you got players that, you know, it's just the way we grew up. Like I grew up on weekends, you go to the bar with your friends, and that's where you meet and you have a good time. And I don't think it's like that anymore as much. I think, you know, maybe some kids still do that, but they don't do that. They're on their phones, they're on social media sites, you know, I hate to say it, but you know, maybe there's other things that they're doing instead of drinking now. And, you know, so, you know, kids just have different outlets. And, you know, like I said, everyone used to kind of go, and that was the meeting place, was go to the bar and meet up. And it's kind of changed. And maybe that's led to kids not drinking as much and maybe being more, you know, dialed in on their fitness. But, you know, I also think when we were playing, we didn't have fitness coaches. We didn't have nutritionists. We didn't have, you know, skills coaches. We didn't have skating coaches. So, you know, kids are regimented now, and every kid is like that. And, you know, I can say the same thing. I got young kids, and it's kind of going that way, but you got to have a balance. At least I believe that. But, you know, I think now with kids, they know that, you know, they're getting coached at a lot younger age. I didn't really get coached. I didn't really have a fitness trainer until I was 25 years old. So, you know, it's changed a lot, and it's going to continue to change for sure.
Well, Rich Peverley, we appreciate you so much for jumping on with us, man. Having a hell of a season in Dallas. They're going to have a pretty deep playoff run, looks like. Continued success, man. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Have a good day. Thanks for having me. All right. Be good, Rich. That's Rich Peverley. What a guy. What a guy. What a legend. What a pizza boy. The trials and tribulations of John Tortorella continue in Philadelphia, where we saw on Tuesday he scratched Sean Couturier and the Flyers went out and beat the Leafs. We saw Brandon Dubinsky had a lot to say about Torts taking shots at him. Well, after the Flyers won that game, Brandon Dubinsky tweeted, "Well, I guess if the best 20 players played and they won, Couturier should be scratched again against the Canes. Stay tuned." And then the popcorn gif and all that. Flyers play the Hurricanes tonight. I got to say, I was team don't scratch Sean Couturier. Brandon Dubinsky is making me team keep scratching him just because Brandon Dubinsky is being so annoying on Twitter.
Yeah, this is kind of like all right, we get it. you
don't
weighed
like
in.
John
You
Tortorella.
weighed in once. We get it. Now let it play out. And I thought you were going to go in the direction. Torts this morning had another little outburst. Little outburst. Don't ask me about Sean. They asked, obviously, the question that, once again, you have to expect these questions to come. He was asked this morning if Sean is going to be scratched again tonight. And he said, don't ask me about Sean. Enough. Like, stop being such a baby, both Brandon Dubinsky and John Tortorella.
Yeah. I feel for Sean Couturier here because not only is he not playing,
He's the only adult.
There is horrible discourse going on, and the two participants are John Tortorella and Brandon Dubinsky.
And like hockey Twitter, 3 participants. All 3 of them are big babies.
I've had some Flyers fans texting me the last couple of days being like, Deej, Couturier's been really bad. Like, you're I'm like, no, like, I've looked at the numbers. I've looked at the time on ice and everything. I'm just not scratching a captain this late in the season. It's just you're opening too many doors.
I think that there's going to be a wild. I would expect Sean Couturier to play tonight. If he doesn't, that changes the conversation a little bit because I think scratching your captain for one game as a mental reset is one thing, but to scratch him multiple games in a row, it's like Couturier is obviously still one of the best players on that team. Got to play him. That's where I would land, like kind of back on your side.
I like that with the exception of the lovely Rich Peverley conversation, today has mostly been just nonsense that has been going on online in the hockey world. And there's more of that because last night TNT put up a graphic saying that Auston Matthews wore number 34 for David Ortiz. Pete grabbed this. You sent it to our group text. You were like, did you know this? I said, no, I didn't know it. You tweeted it out. I honestly had never considered this as a possibility. You see that great graphic there. Somebody angrily responded saying, no. And what does it say? I can't read it. He doesn't wear 34 because of Ortiz, and he isn't called Papi because of Ortiz either. This is blah, 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 blah. And then he sent a screen grab of something explaining why he wears number 34. I'm just going to say there were 2 stills in graphics posted there.
Yeah.
The one that said he wears it for Ortiz had pictures and was a lot more colorful, much more put together. So I'm siding with he wears it for Ortiz.
It's a very monkey with symbols way to approach that.
Well, the other one, Sean, if you want to put it back, it's just some black and white text.
That's true. Like
That's not grabbing. You put both of those up on a billboard. Which ones
if
people
you walk
gonna
into
remember?
a conference room and you try to make your pitch as to why Auston Matthews chose his number, tell you what, the one with the bells and whistles is going to grab my attention a little bit more, even though there's zero proof. The TNT one, just like no source cited whatsoever.
But that one's got strippers and like all sorts of shit going on.
I'm pretty sure TNT. I could not be like more sure that TNT just completely made that up and just went with it.
No, they weren't the ones that made it up, but someone else certainly did. Like if you look it up, there's stories written about this, and it's just like none of them have quotes. There is nothing that suggests anyone actually said it. I don't know where it came from, but I will defend TNT here a little bit. I don't think they were the ones that made it up.
It's a good graphic, though.
I feel it is a good graphic.
It looks convincing.
I feel like there would be at least one quote about Auston Matthews talking about David Ortiz.
I think he did somewhere before, but
Did you
not
say,
in
like, I
connection.
liked him?
Yeah, not in connection with his name. Because like one of the things that someone said was that it was because his dad was a David Ortiz fan. That just like the numbers don't line up there. The timelines don't line up.
Right. Yeah, we were saying before the show, like when Auston Matthews was born, David Ortiz isn't even named David Ortiz. He's David Arias.
That's right.
Plus, like 2 weeks ago, there was Auston Matthews was on camera talking about how his mom has just like always called him Papi.
For David Ortiz?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like they aren't Mexican or anything like that.
We need to start punching up any sort of like rumors or theories with like moving, like smoke and mirrors, a lot of pizzazz. What are those? They had those in Vegas where the women with like the feathers.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called.
Showgirls, I think.
Showgirls.
Yeah, right. Showgirls.
Yeah.
I don't know if what's his name had told us that Kevin Hayes' fingerprints were all over this on a fancy graphic instead of just saying it. Would have been slightly more inclined to believe it.
Yes.
Update as of 10 minutes ago, reported by Anthony DeMarco. Sean Couturier scratched tonight.
Did see this.
So,
Did see this. We have turned alerts for Brandon Dubinsky on.
I think that Torts is steering too far in the villain direction.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's not good. It's not smart behavior.
You had me. I was okay with one. Back-to-back healthy scratches for Sean Couturier is bad behavior.
I feel like if no one had ever asked him about it, like if he had just gotten to scratch him and no one asked questions, Couturier would be back in the lineup.
He'd be back in the lineup. But that's why I think he's steering into the skid a little bit.
He's got a hole.
He's just enjoying this.
John Tortorella, the next Bill Belichick. This is Bill Belichick behavior.
Yeah, right.
Which is like, I am going to shake my ass in the face of the media. It's like, are you going to do a smart thing for your team?
Do we think?
Why would I do that with all this ass shaking I'm doing right now?
We're not going to have an episode tomorrow, but do you think that John Tortorella, after the game tonight, regardless of what happens, is going to be like, don't ask me about Sean? Is he going to be pissy again? Fucking probably.
That's what I love.
I would love to show up there wearing some high whites, just really dress the part, really,
John Tortorella
would really suck up to him, and then be like, your goaltending this season obviously has you've played different guys and you've gotten different results from different play. Why'd you scratch Sean Couturier? Just to see what you
show up with highlights and a puppy, just completely disarm him.
Trojan horse him.
I have this dog for you. His name's Sean Couturier.
Also, did want to talk about while we're on like miscellaneous kind of grab ass.
Yes,
Tate McRae. New allegations against Tate McRae. Maybe doesn't know puck as much as we thought she may have.
Explain.
Her tour, it begins in a couple of weeks. I believe the first date of her upcoming tour is April 28th. You know what also begins around April 28th?
Sean's birthday.
Really?
It's July.
No, yeah.
It is July.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I'd ever said that out loud. Fun.
No, the NHL playoffs begin right around that time. Tate McRae kicking off her tour right at the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Bad behavior from NHL's
it's Buble
biggest
behavior.
ambassador.
Maybe she learned it from her pal in Toronto.
That's where my mind went. You could argue Spin Zone, like ultimate hockey behavior, huge Flames fan. Flames are just like kind of now out of the race. So she waited until the Flames didn't really have a chance of making the playoffs. She said, if it's not the Flames, what do I give a shit? I'm gonna start making my money.
I think that's bad behavior. If you're an NHL fan, which Tate McRae can be found, if you Google Tate McRae NHL team, you're going to find her in every jersey that's ever existed. So it seems like she's a fan of the game and not necessarily just a fan of the Calgary Flames. So I think this is bad behavior from Tate McRae. Also, I meant to bring this up last week. Found out, did you know Tate McRae has a brother that plays college hockey for Dartmouth?
I did not know that until you told us. I'm worried that that person who goes to games with signs that are inappropriate is going to like go to Dartmouth and harass this kid. Don't want that to happen.
This definitely got brought up when she first kind of came on our radar. Like
really?
I remember hearing that because that was my exact thought.
I was going to say this is a nice way of Sean saying I told you guys this.
I don't think I told you. But I know it was brought up. Maybe it was I saw it somewhere else. But my exact thought was that can't be fun.
Do we think that Tate McRae is going to do the old Camilla Cabello move where on tour, every city that she visits, she wears that city's NHL jersey?
100%.
I bet you hate that, Sean.
No, I don't.
I hate that.
It depends because a lot of times they're getting it from the arena or whatever. Like
you don't have to wear it.
You don't have to wear it on
well,
stage.
Yeah, I know that. But I'm just saying, like, it's not like they are necessarily just doing it to like pander if they're getting it given to them.
Yeah.
I don't really mind it.
She's already proven that she's not above pandering. She wears every jersey ever.
Like if I was a touring artist, I would do that. I would wear the jersey I would wear a new jersey everywhere with the exception of the cities that I hate. Like if I was a touring artist and I was performing in Boston, like I'd wear a Sox jersey. I wouldn't wear a Bruins jersey, but like I would rep the city.
I think the most important thing with the McRae thing is it brings up one of my favorite things with the playoffs each year, which is the can't play this night, there's a concert. I love looking at arena schedules in the spring to figure out who can play when.
I'm sorry. I have to issue a correction. I just looked at the tour. It's the European leg of this tour. She's starting in Ireland, hitting the UK, then Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, Sweden. So it's a European leg. She may still be able to watch playoffs.
I was just about to say, you know what that means?
Yeah.
She's not on stage during the shows, during the games.
So
big hockey
beating the recent allegations, Tate McRae still may know puck.
Bigger hockey fan than expected.
Right, like
she went, she's like, I got to make money. I have to play these shows. I got this album out. Think later. It's got such hits as Messier and
my mind is blown right now because I'm looking at the tour schedule. Her last leg of the European tour is May 22nd. Then there's a break, and she picks up in Calgary July 5th.
So she's back. She comes back to the cup.
She's waiting for the playoffs to conclude. She's even waiting for the NHL draft and free agency to finish. And then she picks up her tour back in her hometown.
Question.
She knows puck. I have to issue the strongest apology. She knows puck.
Hockey savant.
Because you also have to think about if she were to start it too late, she would be running into the start of next season. So that's something she had to consider.
When does this tour wrap up? Tour wraps up August 22nd in the United States. Picks up back another Australia and New Zealand leg November 8th.
Dude, she's the biggest hockey fan on the planet.
She might be the biggest hockey fan in the world.
Respect the hell out of that.
Queen.
Like, she's like, I will go to time zones that will still allow me to watch hockey, but I'm not playing one goddamn show in North America while the NHL playoffs are going on.
The other thing about that first break that allows her to potentially perform at the NHL draft, because they usually have performances and stuff.
They don't have performances at the NHL draft.
Yeah, they did in Nashville.
Yeah, they do.
Last
Will
year.
Smith rapped the Fresh Prince song.
That was, that's true. That was Will Smith.
They had performances throughout the entire week last year. Like Nashville, they for the award show,
like
they
on
had
the street.
Yeah, but they would broadcast.
Tate McRae's way bigger than performing on the street outside the NHL draft.
Well,
no one so derogatory.
No one says that she has to do it outside of the.
She's out in the
street performing.
Tate McRae is not
she's
for
a
the
professional
streets.
musician.
Tate McRae not for the streets.
She is exactly the size artist to be performing on the street.
Oh, no way.
Well, actually,
last year at the NHL draft, they had legitimate artists outside on a giant stage.
I guess it's Vegas, but
and there is a thing with Tate McRae. This was written about of like Tate McRae is known by, and the numbers speak for themselves, but Tate McRae is known by TikTok. Tate McRae is known by a certain age and demographic of people. She was recently booked for Lollapalooza, and there was a big "Who's asking for this?" article written about it.
Like a lot of people are probably asking for it.
I know. I understood what the writer was coming from.
Yeah,
they were saying like Lollapalooza is where you go to see your Radioheads and all these sorts of things. Like, which people going to Lollapalooza know who Tate McRae is?
You don't go see Lollapalooza? A lot of young people,
right? There's arguments to both sides, but I understand where you could say Tate McRae historically is a little like, it would be like Taylor Swift shouldn't be doing, or like Justin Bieber shouldn't be doing Lollapalooza.
Justin Bieber I could see more likely, but like Taylor Swift, Tate McRae, where there's a lot of like dancing and stuff like that.
No, but like Charlie XCX you could throw there. There's just, I guess, Lollapalooza has, it was born from like the alternative, and there's not a lot of alternative in that. But
things change. People got to sell tickets. People got to make money.
But do you sell tickets off Tate McRae, or are those kids just all TikToking on their phone? There is a man named Jimmy Finland. Tell us about him.
Oh yeah, there's a big controversy going down in Finland because there was an instance where a guy was checked into the boards and got injured, and now the other team or his team is blaming the mascot. If you can see the replay here, the mascot pushes up against the boards and the player named Jimmy Finland gets checked into the boards and gets hurt because I guess the other
There's
team
no
is,
shock absorption.
Yeah, there's like an alleged, manipulation of the boards. There's no give there because the mascot is pushing up against it. But the bigger takeaway here is that this guy is named Jimmy Suomi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it essentially translates to Jimmy Finland, a Finnish hockey player named Jimmy Finland.
You are absolutely correct in saying that is the biggest part of the story.
Yes.
Somebody's name is Jimmy Finland.
Who is Finnish and plays in Finland.
That's great.
That was crazy. I feel like a underrated part of this is like the general puck knowledge of the mascot. Like if you were trying to hurt that guy, like it requires a certain amount of like awareness as a mascot to be like, I got to time this, check into the boards perfectly, like right time, right place, right time, obviously. But
well, I would have to guess that the mascot wasn't trying to injure.
But I'm saying if that's the accusation.
I think that he was just doing a little grab ass where he was pretending to check the player
that's
going
definitely
into the board.
What actually happened.
Which it is, intentions were there. Like he was just trying to be an entertainer, but probably shouldn't be messing with the boards when players are going in there.
An attempt was made.
Yeah. This brings up a story that I heard this week on Jeff Merrick's show that pertains to your interests. I guess in the early 90s when the Sabres played at Buffalo's old auditorium, there was in the corner, the Zamboni door. And I guess when the Sabres had a set play where they would dump the puck into the corner, and whoever was like the worker over in the corner by the Zamboni door would like push the door out a little bit and would kick the puck out towards the slot as the goalie was going out to play in the corner. And like McGillney got like 10 goals because
that's why he's not in the Hall of Fame.
bounce.
That's why he's not in the Hall of Fame because he's just been cheating.
Because he was playing pinball during the games.
That's an incredible story.
Like if it happened now, and to anybody that was not the Buffalo Sabres, I'd be like, fucking cheaters. But the fact that it happened in the 90s and it was the Sabres is the coolest thing ever.
People would pick up on it the first time it was done.
Yes.
Well, now,
especially
like
with all
now,
the cameras,
there would be a Twitter compilation of being like, and it would be a fucking controversy. People would lose their minds over it.
The team would lose draft picks for something like that.
Oh yeah, the Coyotes would have draft
like
picks.
That guy would be fired. The Sabres would be punished.
No, that would be the saddest part. Is they would probably. Like, I guess I don't want to accuse the Sabres. There's definitely organizations in pro sports that would make that guy like a massive scapegoat and be like, we had nothing to do with this. This guy was a lone wolf. We fired him.
Two things from the chat need to address. One, somebody correctly noted that James Dolan is going to make everybody listen to his shitty band.
Oh, no.
during the draft.
I was going to bring that up because that's the other thing about Tate McRae. It's like, you don't think that they're going to like just perform in the Sphere. Like there's going to be performances in the Sphere. It's like the most unique concert venue in the world.
I can't wait to go to that. That's going to be amazing.
I can't wait to not be allowed to go to that.
Right.
I obviously don't want you to not be able to go, but as I've said multiple times,
for content,
if we showed up and they were like, not this guy, it would be the funniest thing of all time.
The other one is that somebody said that the mascot finished his check. So that's a nice little
pretty
pun
good
there. Hey, let's get to a slate grade presented by Game Time. We have 10 games today, and you might want to listen up for this one. 10 games, 7 p.m., Rangers at Bruins.
Like that.
It's a good game. 7 p.m., Blues at Senators.
By the way, Blues are underdogs in this game. I'm all over that.
Road dogs.
Road dogs. And the Senators are trash, so I'm taking the Blues for sure.
7 p.m., Islanders at Red Wings. 7 p.m. U.S., Jets at Devils to Foley Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
To Foley Bowl.
Islanders, Red Wings, by the way, pretty good matchup with implications.
Exactly. Implications. You kind of have to watch every Red Wings game now. But 7 p.m., Jets at Devils. That's to Foley Bowl. 7 p.m., Flyers at Hurricanes. All eyes must be on the Flyers these days with who's in and out of the lineup, but also the Hurricanes are finding their footing with their new guys. 7:30 p.m. U.S. Predators at Panthers. You got the hottest team against the best team.
You know that the Nashville Predators are doing real good because PK Subban knows about them.
Yes, he put out a thing saying, hey, is anyone seeing this?
PK Subban has noticed the Nashville Predators, which means that they were good 2 to 3 weeks ago.
The best part of that is if it was like the Stars or something, would have made slightly more sense. He played for this team.
Yes.
You played for
Right.
the Nashville Predators.
That's why I say
He really like only talks about teams that he once played for.
I was watching or almost played for the Oilers. I was watching
True.
the video of him saying like, "Is anyone seeing this? Is anyone seeing this?" And I told Pete it was like the Jim Downey meme of like the Nashville Predators, the team that I play for. And they're like, "You don't play for any team anymore, PK." But yeah, Predators at Panthers, hottest team against the best team. 9 p.m. Sabres at Oilers. Oh my God. How have we done 55, an hour and 5 minutes and not mention that the Sabres are playing the Oilers tonight?
That one's going to be a tough one because, like, I feel like the Oilers are going to kick the shit out of the Sabres.
They are.
And if they do, I think we can say that the Sabres are officially sucked off. Their playoff hopes will be dead if they lose to the Oilers tonight. But like, I don't want to see that happen.
I want to come back Monday with a little life left in the Sabres.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to push them off Suck Mountain yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's going to be a great game. 10 p.m., we have a Celebrini Bowl. Blackhawks at Ducks. 10:30 p.m., Kraken at Golden Knights. 10:30 p.m. U.S. Lightning at Sharks, which is Sean,
the blackest game in hockey.
But also,
no, I guess kind of. I was not pointing at you to say black.
the return
I
of
love
the
that.
Duke.
I wasn't. Oh yeah, Duke
Anthony
revenge
Duclair
game. Of
revenge
course.
game.
So,
Amazing.
I mean,
the return of the Duke. By the way, the
Same.
Duke, 8 goals in his last 8 games.
The man is on fire.
ever since I
yeah.
painted him.
So you've got 10 games. How many at 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 7. It goes right from 7 to 7:30 to 9. 1 10 p.m.er, 2 10:30 p.m.ers.
2 10 p.m.ers
No, 1, I think. Blackhawks Ducks.
and Canadians Canucks.
Oh, you missed that one.
Is that so? Is there 1, 2, 3?
That one's
4,
not in the doc.
5, 6, 7. So there's 11 games?
There are 11 games. Yes.
11 games. A late breaking game.
A new game
Just
has been
added to the
announced.
schedule.
Breaking
Dang it, we need
news.
to have like a siren for if I count the wrong amount. Just like we have a late breaking edition. Tonight there will be a 10 o'clock Canadians and Canucks. I'll tell you what, I don't give a fuck about that game. I don't
I
think
was
anybody.
gonna say we didn't even need to bring it up. Who cares?
That game sucks. But of all these games, you got original 6 matchup, Rangers and Bruins, and 2 of the best teams in the East. Jets at Devils is going to be good. Predators at Panthers should be awesome. I always like a Celebrini Bowl. The Oilers are playing, and you got a Duclair revenge game.
I got goosebumps because I know what's coming.
That's right. As I explained, goosebumps isn't from feeling something amazing. It's from knowing that you're about to feel something amazing.
Do you know the origins of goosebumps? Like biologically, why we get
R.L.
goosebumps?
Stein.
No, not those goosebumps.
Because when geese bump uglies.
Precisely. No, it's actually from like when we were a lot hairier, and goosebumps like in theory, pull the hair closer together to keep you warm. So like I think bears might get goosebumps. But like yeah, that's what it's from. It's like in theory, it's like a biological response trying to keep you warm. Fun fact.
I like DJ's theory better. Is that like goosebumps originated from like one horny pervert watching geese about to do
Bump.
the deed and being like, "Whoa, I'm excited for this."
Oh wait, is that what you were saying? I thought you were saying the goose was getting the bumps because they were getting ready
I think
to lay.
that is what he was saying, but
You
No,
made
I
it
was
about-
saying goosebumps. I was saying originally meant geese having sex.
Yeah.
But-
because
just
geese
meant
are bumping
geese.
uglies.
Okay, but you were saying.
But I was saying like it was like a horny pervert, like a peeping Tom watching the geese about to get it on and being like, "What's going on here? These goosebumps are happening."
Well, with all these excellent games, plus the late breaking game that has been added to the slate last minute by Sean, I give tonight's slate an A. An A. It's the first A in a very long time, but I mean, it checks all the boxes.
We deserve it.
A lot of good games, playoff teams playing each other, revenge games, and it's kind of a must. Someone asked me recently, what does it need to have an A? I said, it doesn't automatically have to happen, but the Oilers for sure do need to be playing.
That's fair.
like one must.
Oilers need to be playing. There needs to be a healthy selection of games, a healthy intrigue of games, and a good structure. Like that has got to be the baseline of an A, right?
I like the structure a lot.
Yeah.
When we started Slate Grade, I never even thought of structure. Structure was something that you threw out there. It's become an integral part because if you're going to, like tonight, I have plans. The people that I'm supposed to see, I don't think are listening to this show. going to cancel those plans. I'm just going to watch hockey instead.
Love
and because there's a lot of great stuff going on. Not like last night where it was a shit structure. I just stayed at home, bet on Auston Matthews to score a bunch of goals. Easiest bet of my life, but overall a boring slate. Not tonight.
David Ortiz, Matthews.
Somebody asked, is there an update on the Chaos Chain?
Real quick, before you move it off the Slate Grade, we got a super chat for a rare A grade slate.
Yes.
Oh,
shout out
hell
Stacey.
yeah.
It's $10. So maybe you might have to start giving more A's if we're getting paid for it.
Don't thank us.
Shout out Stacey Faye.
Thanks, Sean, for
always
adding.
present, always appreciated. Chaos Chain update. It still belongs with the Colorado Avalanche. They did beat the Blues the other night, which means that DJ has acquired the St. Louis Blues. So still with the Avs. The Avs do not play until, when's the Avs' next game? Let's see. They are playing the Columbus Blue Jackets tomorrow night at 9 p.m., which means that you could also pick up the Blue Jackets. You famously love their roster. And then they play the Pittsburgh Penguins on Sunday.
Ooh.
Very winnable game.
Which is
but
my
also
team I own.
is Sean's team, which means we could have our first Chaos Chain theft.
Oh,
You could take Sean's team.
wow.
but I can't take yours. According to the
Correct.
rules.
But then the next game after that, if the Colorado Avalanche win their next two games, you can take one team from Sean, and then you'll have the opportunity to take a team from me, the Montreal Canadiens.
And of course, they're just both bad teams.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
But then if they win that game, you could also take the New York Rangers from me. So we could be in a position next week where I only have one Chaos Chain team.
we were talking about the chain being a little like snoozy yesterday, but
Yeah.
it's about to heat.
There
the
are
fuck
some.
up.
There are some. Not complications, implications coming up.
There's no complications with the chain.
No,
There
it's
is
famously not
never that.
complicated. But we did have a Chaos Chain conversation earlier in the week in which Sean was like, "I wish there were like more implications happening. We're running out of time here," and I agree
because of the implication.
because of the implications. Next year, the Chaos Chain will obviously be tweaked. It's always going to be tweaked. That's the
It was being
that's
tweaked
the appeal
throughout
of
the
it.
first 2 months of this.
Right. We got to start the Chaos Chain with opening night next year. And
Oh, yeah.
if we're keeping up with the Chaos Chain throughout a full season, that shit is going to be so complicated and so convoluted, and teams are going to be changing hands every night, and that will be so exciting to me.
Celebrities involved, maybe.
Yeah.
It's got to start
Strippers.
Bublé gets a team.
like with whatever the first regular season game is. Like the winner of that game should start with the chain, right?
Yeah. Oh man, whoever wins the what?
Like the first regular season game, like whatever.
I think that it has to be whoever opens the season as Stanley Cup champion and has like that big ceremony.
Wait, why wouldn't it just be the chain holder? Like, why wouldn't the winning chain holder?
Because
get
I think you have
the
to
season
start
with the chain?
fresh every year.
Yeah.
I like the idea of
fair.
starting fresh and doing the first. This is a great time to talk about it. But doing like the big ceremony when a team trots around the Stanley Cup and does that whole like big ceremony. That game, whoever wins that game should start off with the chain, I think.
I think we should try and get whoever wins the chain. We should try and get them a chain that turns into their like locker room celebration thing. Like, all right, boys, so and so,
The plumber and
like
the
if pretending it's the Sabres, UPL had a good game in net. Captain is doing well, but this goes to Benny, and then give him the Chaos Chain. Yeah, the boys
Yeah.
clap it up.
I'd like to
Or-
do Chaos Chain opening ceremonies next year, and for Mike Felger to be there.
What if we did whatever team Gene Principe does like an opening night theme for during the Oilers season, then wins the Chaos Chain?
I mean, it's just going to be whoever they play first.
I like this.
Maybe not if it's a national game.
True.
When you talked about chain theft, it got in my head the
chain snatch.
the image of stealing stars in Mario Party.
Hmm.
For an Oops All Grab Ass stream, we should play Mario Party sometime.
Oh hell
Just
yeah.
like the original Mario Party.
I love Mario Party. I also hate it because the you can be as good as you want the whole time, and then it just the game decides who wins at the end. I think that's bullshit as a competitive person.
I
But
like-
otherwise, I love the game.
But I feel like for as great as we are at breaking down the game and analyzing the X's and O's, seeing which direction signs are pointing, I feel like, especially the chat, I feel like people would quite enjoy watching us play Mario Party.
I think so
Is
too.
this correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll do something like that at some point. We do have some streams planned for you folks, but in the meantime, have a lovely weekend. Watch college basketball if you like, but boy, do not miss this slate tonight. It's the good stuff. We will talk to you on Monday. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.